I was born a prince, the heir to a kingdom bathed in sunlight. My life was a tapestry, woven with threads of gold and silk, filled with the laughter of my people and the promise of a bright future. But a shadow loomed over my destiny, a curse whispered in hushed tones by a vengeful sorceress my ancestors had wronged. She had decreed that on my 25th birthday, I would transform into the very creature our kingdom feared most, an orc. For years, I lived in denial, clinging to the hope that love, or some forgotten magic, could break the spell. But as the day drew near, the curse began to take hold. My skin thickened, tinged with green. My features coarsened, and my strength grew monstrous, uncontrollable. The looks of my people shifted from adoration to fear, then to disgust. The king, my own father, couldn't bear to look at me. In his eyes, I was no longer his son, but a monster that had to be contained. On the eve of my final transformation, they chained me in the deepest dungeon, their farewells a mixture of sorrow and revulsion. That night, as the last vestiges of my human form were ripped away, I broke those chains. I was no longer a prince. I was a beast, driven by a primal rage and a profound, aching loneliness. I fled my home, the kingdom I was meant to rule, and sought refuge in the dark, unforgiving mountains where I believed I belonged. For years, I lived in solitude. My only companions, the wind howling through the peaks, and the wild animals that gave me a wide berth. The rage subsided, replaced by an emptiness that gnawed at my soul. I was a king without a kingdom, a man without a face, a heart without a home. I watched from my mountain perch as the world moved on without me, the memory of the lost prince fading into legend. One day, a new kind of ship appeared on the horizon, the dragon-headed longships of the Vikings. They were raiders, fierce and unforgiving, led by a chieftain named Ragnar, a man whose brutality was legendary. They pillaged the coastal towns, taking whatever and whoever they pleased. From my high vantage point, I saw the fear they instilled, the same fear I had once seen in the eyes of my own people. It was during one of these raids that I saw her, Elara, Ragnar's wife. She wasn't cowering like the others. She stood on the shore, her hair the color of spun gold, catching the light, her eyes a defiant blue, fixed on the horizon as her husband's ships returned. She possessed a strength, a fire, that called to the last shred of humanity within me. In that moment, a desperate, selfish plan formed in my mind. I was condemned to this lonely existence, but perhaps I didn't have to be alone. If I couldn't be loved, maybe I could be feared. If I couldn't have a queen, maybe I could take one. That night, under the cover of a storm that mirrored the tempest in my heart, I descended from the mountain. The Viking camp was a cacophony of celebration and drunken shouts. Sneaking past the sentries was child's play for a creature of the shadows like me. I found her tent, the fabric glowing from the warm light within. My heart, a lump of stone in my chest, hammered against my ribs. Was this right? To inflict my curse upon another? The loneliness answered for me. It screamed, "Yes!" I swept into the tent, a monstrous shadow extinguishing the light. She didn't scream, not at first. Her eyes widened, that defiant fire momentarily replaced by shock, but not terror. It was as if she was seeing something other than the monster before her. I didn't give her time to think. I scooped her into my arms. She was so light, so fragile compared to me, and fled back into the storm, back to my mountain fortress. The sounds of alarm faded behind us, swallowed by the wind and the rain. I took her to my cave, a place I had tried to make a home. There were furs on the floor, a fire burning in the hearth, and a cavernous opening that overlooked the world below. I expected tears, pleading, or curses. I received none of them. She simply stood there, wrapped in a fur I offered her, and looked at me, really looked at me. "Why?" she asked, her voice steady, betraying none of the fear I anticipated. I couldn't find the words. How could I explain the crushing weight of solitude? How could I describe the ghost of the man I used to be? So I just grunted, "You are my captive." Days turned into weeks. I would hunt, bringing back food for her. I'd leave it at the mouth of the cave, too ashamed to face her directly. But she was persistent. She started leaving the cooked meals by the fire for me when I returned. She wasn't a prisoner. She was turning my desolate cave into a home. She would talk to me, telling me stories of her own life, of the sea, of the gods her people worshipped. She didn't ask about my past. She just accepted my present. One evening, she found me staring at my reflection in a pool of water. The monstrous face, a constant, painful reminder of what I'd lost. "That's not all you are," she said softly, standing beside me. I flinched, expecting her to recoil from my grotesque form. Instead, she gently touched my arm. Her touch wasn't one of fear or pity. It was one of understanding. "I see the sadness in your eyes," she whispered. "It's the same sadness I felt, watching my husband sail away, knowing he valued plunder more than my presence." Her words were a key, unlocking a part of me I thought was sealed forever. I found my voice, not the guttural growl of a beast, but the rusty, hesitant voice of a man. I told her everything, about the curse, the prince I was, the kingdom I lost, the loneliness that drove me to steal her away. She listened, her gaze never wavering. When I finished, silence hung in the air, heavy with my confession. "You didn't steal a queen," she said, finally, a small smile playing on her lips. "You rescued a prisoner. You just didn't know it." In that moment, she saw past the orc. She saw the caged prince inside. Her compassion was a balm on a wound I thought was fatal. I had captured her to cure my loneliness, but instead, she was healing my soul. I learned her name, Alara, and she learned mine, Arthur. We were two lonely souls, finding solace in the most unlikely of circumstances. The king of beasts and the Viking queen, finding our own kingdom in a lonely cave on a mountain peak. But we both knew this peace was fragile. Below us, the world was stirring. Ragnar, her husband, was not a man to let such an insult go unanswered. His scouts were combing the mountains, their torches like angry fireflies in the night. He was hunting the beast that stole his wife, and he would not stop until he found us. My selfish act had brought her into my dangerous world, and now her brutal past was coming to claim her. I had to protect her, not as a captor guarding his prize, but as a man protecting the one person who saw him for who he truly was. The coming battle wouldn't be for a kingdom or for revenge. It would be for her. It would be for us. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for more tales like this one. We'd love to have you as part of our community. See you in the next video.